I still remember the first day I met Amina Kamara. In Lagos, where the sun burns with a kind of pride and the city breathes faster than any living creature, there are moments that carve themselves into a man's memory. That morning, as I stood beside the gleaming black SUV I was hired to drive, I had no idea my life was about to twist like a storm-bent palm tree. My name is Saidu Musa, born in a village outside Kano, raised on millet porridge, dusty harmattan winds, and the firm discipline of a father who believed struggle made a man. When I came to Lagos at 20, pockets empty but dreams full, all I wanted was a job that kept me alive. Driving became my escape, a skill I learned from old taxi men who talked too much but taught even more. But nothing prepared me for working for Chief Ibrahim Kamara, one of the richest business tycoons in Nigeria. His company stretched from oil logistics to real estate, and his mansions were known for swallowing men whole, figuratively and spiritually. I was hired through a friend of a friend, the kind of chain that always ends with a whispered warning. Just do your work. Don't look too long at the family. Don't speak unless spoken to. And above all, don't get involved. I laughed at that time. Involvement was the last thing on my mind. I only wanted my salary. But everything changed the day Amina stepped out of the marble entrance, sunlight following her like a jealous lover. She walked with a grace I had only seen in Fulani dancers, head high, shoulders relaxed, her flowing Ankara dress hugging her shape in a quiet, unintentional way. She was the chief's only daughter, a 24-year-old law graduate who had just returned from the UK. I lowered my gaze quickly the moment our eyes met, but my heart did not obey. "Good morning," she said, her voice gentle in a way that surprised me. "Good morning, madam," I replied, struggling to keep my tone steady. "No need for madam. My name is Amina," she said with a playful smile. I nodded but said nothing. The first rule of surviving wealth is, respect boundaries. But Amina was different. She didn't know those boundaries, or maybe she didn't care. She treated people like humans, not furniture, not servants, not shadows. A few days later, she slipped into the back seat as I opened the door and said, "Saidu, right?" I froze. "Yes, Madam Amina." She smiled. "Thank you. Can you drive through Lekki Phase 1? I feel like taking the long route today." The long route, rich people's way of saying I need to think. As I drove, she stared out the window, eyes lost in something deep. After a while, she asked softly, "Saidu, do you ever feel trapped? Like everyone expects you to be someone you're not?" I swallowed. Her question was too heavy, too personal, too unexpected. "Sometimes," I said carefully. "But expectations are part of life." She sighed, leaning her head on the seat. "My father thinks he owns my destiny. Every move I make, he controls. Every friend, every project, every decision. Sometimes I wonder if I have a life of my own." I stayed silent. It wasn't my place to give comfort. But inside, something stirred recognition, maybe sympathy. Over the next weeks, her questions became conversations. Conversations became laughter. And laughter, God help me, became connection. But every time she looked directly at me, I reminded myself. This is the billionaire's daughter. You are a poor driver from Kano. Respect your limits. One afternoon, she asked me to drive her to the old part of Lagos Island, far from the polished buildings and perfect lawns her family lived in. She wanted roasted plantain from a roadside vendor. She wanted to walk through the narrow market streets. She wanted real Lagos, as she called it. People stared at her, her clean skin, her fine clothes, her innocence shining like a lantern in a dirty corner. But she didn't care. She bought plantains for me, too, even though I tried to refuse. "You always refuse gifts," she said with a mock frown. "If you keep doing that, I'll stop asking for your opinion when I choose my route." I laughed before I could stop myself. She noticed. And she liked that she could make me laugh. But with every passing day, the household staff noticed too. Whispers followed me like shadows. The other drivers warned me. "Be careful, Saidu," one said. "You know the chief. He protects his daughter like she is oil money." Drivers before you have been sacked for less, another added. The man fears poverty like poison. He will never accept a driver getting too close. I nodded, but what could I do? I felt myself falling, slowly at first, then helplessly. Because Amina wasn't just beautiful. She wasn't just wealthy. She had a softness that made the world feel gentle, a voice that calmed storms, and a kindness that felt like home. One evening, as we returned from Victoria Island, the rain poured with the loudness of angry spirits. The road shimmered with reflections, and Lagos traffic turned into a crawling beast. I parked under a sheltered corner of the compound. As she opened the door, thunder cracked. She startled and grabbed my forearm instinctively. Her skin was warm. Her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and embarrassment. I'm sorry, she said, stepping back. It's okay, I whispered. But the moment hung between us, trembling like a leaf. She stared at me, lips parting slightly, breath uneven. I looked away quickly. Good night, Amina. She hesitated, then nodded. Good night, Saidu. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her touch replayed in my mind like a forbidden melody. The next morning, things escalated. She sat in the passenger seat instead of the back. I blinked. Is everything okay? I just feel like sitting here today, she replied lightly. But it wasn't light. The air between us grew heavy with something unnamed. Her perfume brushed against me. Her knee grazed mine when we hit a bump. At one point she reached for her water bottle and her fingers brushed my hand. I felt my entire world shift. Saidu, she murmured, do you think two people from different worlds can truly understand each other? I don't know, I said. Worlds are complicated. She turned to me fully. And if one of them wants to cross into the other world? My throat tightened. Crossing comes with consequences. She smiled sadly. Everything in life does. That evening, the consequences arrived. Chief Kamara returned from a business trip angry, loud, impatient. The kind of man whose presence makes insects scatter and servants stand straighter. His eyes were like stones soaked in fire. He noticed immediately that Amina was too attached to the car. Too relaxed. Too happy. He didn't ask questions. Rich men like him didn't need proof to form suspicions. Through the window, I saw him pull her aside, his voice sharp, his gestures accusing. She argued back, which shocked even the houseguards. Amina never argued loudly. I couldn't hear their words, but I saw her glance at me briefly. A glance filled with fear and guilt. After the confrontation, she left without saying goodnight. And the chief called me. Saidu, he said, not looking at me directly. Tomorrow, come to my office. We need to talk. My heart dropped into my stomach. That night, I lay awake staring at the cracked ceiling of my small boys' quarters room. Rain tapped gently against the metal roof. I knew that tone. That summon. That message. Men like him did not talk. They warned, threatened, destroyed. By morning, my palms were sweating. I drove the car to his office building, the glass skyscraper that towered over the city like a giant watching weak men struggle below. I sat in the waiting area for 30 minutes before his assistant called me in. Inside, he didn't offer me a seat. Saidu, he began, his expression cold, you have been working here for 7 months. You drive well. You are loyal. But I need to ask you something. I kept my eyes lowered. Yes, sir? Has my daughter shown unusual friendliness toward you? My throat tightened. I thought of lying. But rich men can smell lies like a dog smells meat. She speaks to me politely, sir, I said carefully. Nothing more. He stared at me a long time. Then he took a deep breath. You are a good worker, Saidu. I don't want to lose you. But my daughter is impressionable. She does not understand the consequences of associating with men beneath her level. The words hit me like stones. Men beneath her level. I swallowed anger, swallowed pride, swallowed the ache in my chest. Yes, sir, I said quietly. Good, he replied. I will assign another driver to her for now. You will take over the company logistics vehicle for staff errands. The meaning was clear. Stay away from my daughter. As I walked out of the office, something broke inside me, not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like a rope snapping in the dark. I told myself it was for the best. But when Amina found out, everything exploded. That evening, she stormed into the driver's lounge, surprising everyone. Her face was flushed, her steps sharp. Saidu, why aren't you driving me today? She demanded. Every driver in the room froze. Madam Amina, please, I whispered. This is not the place. I don't care about the place. I care about the truth. Did my father threaten you? Her eyes burned with anger and something else, something dangerously close to pain. No, I lied softly. He only reassigned me. It is normal. Drivers rotate. She shook her head. Stop protecting me, Saidu. I'm protecting myself, I said quietly. Her jaw trembled. Do you hate driving me? My heart slammed against my ribs. No. That is not it. Then what? She whispered. What are you afraid of? I looked around. Too many ears. Too many eyes. Too many dangers. Please leave, I murmured. They will report this. But she didn't move. Instead, she stepped closer and said something so soft only I could hear. I don't want another driver, Saidu. I want you. My breath stopped. Everyone pretended not to hear, but their ears were burning. She left abruptly, her footsteps echoing through the corridor. And from that moment, the entire mansion changed. Whispers grew louder. Suspicion thickened. Lines were drawn. The chief's warnings multiplied. And Amina, she became quieter, more distant, except when she was near me, then she was fire. One evening, 2 weeks later, everything shattered. She approached me near the gate, her voice trembling. Saidu. I can't take this anymore. What do you mean? My father, he wants to force me to marry the son of his business partner. A man I don't love. A man who treats everyone like dirt. The world spun slightly. What are you saying? Her eyes filled with tears. I want to choose my own life. My own future. My own love. Love? I repeated, stunned. Yes, she whispered. Love. Before I could speak, the gate guard whistled sharply. Chief is coming. Amina panicked, grabbed my hand, squeezed it hard, and ran back inside. And that was the moment the real war began. The night after Amina grabbed my hand at the gate, I barely slept. The lantern in my small quarters flickered like a nervous heartbeat, matching my own. I kept replaying her words, her trembling voice, her fierce insistence that she wanted her own life, her own love. And that small, dangerous moment when her fingers intertwined with mine. Those fingers were soft, warm, and trembling with truth. They also carried the weight of a family empire that could crush me without leaving a trace. When dawn broke over Lagos, its humid breath clinging to the world, I felt no peace. Just fear, and something else I dared not name. Hope, maybe. Or longing. Or the beginning of madness. By mid-morning the mansion was buzzing. Not the usual workers' chatter, this was sharper, meaner. People looked at me differently. Some pitied me. Some smirked. Some avoided eye contact entirely, as if I already carried bad luck. Around noon, Mama Risi, the mansion cook, pulled me aside behind the kitchen. My son, she whispered, you must be careful. The chief's temper has been boiling since yesterday. I don't know what happened, but he mentioned your name. My knees almost buckled. What did he say? He said you are getting too comfortable. Too confident. He said young men like you forget their place. I swallowed hard. I swear, Mama, I have not done anything. She shook her head. Sometimes, innocence does not matter. Wealth decides truth. Her words hit harder because they were true. I returned to the driver's area, trying to stay invisible. I avoided Amina the whole day. But destiny has strange ways of punishing cowards. She found me first. Late afternoon, when the sun was dropping and the sky turned orange, she approached me beside the servants' entrance. She wore a plain cloth wrapper and a simple blouse, no rich girl glamour. Her hair tied back. She looked human. Vulnerable. Saidu, she called softly. I froze. Amina, you shouldn't be here. She stepped closer. Do you think hiding from me will solve anything? I'm not hiding, I lied. Her eyebrows rose. Then look at me. I forced myself to raise my eyes. And what I saw nearly broke me. Pain. Fear. Determination. And an emotion she struggled to contain. I heard what my father told you, she whispered. You didn't do anything wrong. I was the one who came to you. That doesn't matter, I said quietly. He thinks it's wrong. So we should let him decide everything, she snapped. My life? Your future? Our choices? I closed my eyes. This cannot work, Amina. Not in this world. Not with your father. She moved closer until her voice was barely a breath. What if I'm willing to fight? I hesitated too long. She noticed. Her voice broke slightly. Saidu, do you have feelings for me, or am I imagining everything? My chest tightened. The sun pressed against my back like judgment itself. Amina. I swallowed hard. Amina, I am your family's driver. If your father thinks I have feelings for you, I am finished. She shook her head. I didn't ask about him. I asked about you. I felt something snap inside me, something I'd held tight for weeks. Something I had no right to feel. I took a long breath. I feel things I shouldn't feel, I admitted. When you laugh, my heart moves. When you talk to me like I'm human, I forget my place. When you look at me, I fear myself. Silence fell thick between us. She stepped even closer. And if I told you I feel the same, she whispered. I stepped back instantly. My breath hitched. Don't say things like that, I murmured. Some dreams are too dangerous. Her lips trembled. But they are still dreams. Before I could respond, the sound of heavy footsteps filled the air. Chief Ibrahim Kamara. Amina froze like a gazelle sensing a lion. He appeared at the corner of the corridor, his face stormy, his igbata swaying behind him like a warning. What are you doing here? He barked at his daughter. She inhaled sharply but said nothing. He turned to me, eyes like burning coal. And you? Come to my office. Now. My palms went cold. Amina stepped forward. Daddy, please. Not one word, he thundered. Get inside the house. She flinched but didn't move. He stared her down until she finally obeyed, though her eyes lingered on mine with fear and helplessness. When she disappeared inside, he looked back at me. Then he smiled. That was more terrifying than anger. Follow me. He didn't lead me to his office. He led me toward the back of the compound, where no staff dared to walk unless summoned. He stopped beside a wall and crossed his arms. Saidu, he said calmly, do you know the problem with young men like you? No, sir. You mistake kindness for equality. I kept my gaze low. My daughter talks to you. She smiles at you. She treats you like a human being. And suddenly, you forget she is the daughter of Ibrahim Kamara. He stepped closer. Tell me, did you encourage her attention? No, sir. I protested quickly. Never. He studied my expression. Do you have feelings for her? My breath caught. Sir, I would never cross that line. He smiled again. Not kindly. Coldly. Good. Because if you ever imagine that my daughter could love a man of your class, I will ruin you so completely that even your village will fear to speak your name. His words sliced through me like a machete. You are dismissed for the day, he added. Report tomorrow morning. And Saidu. Yes, sir? If I catch you even exchanging unnecessary words with my daughter again, you will learn what true suffering feels like. He walked away slowly, confidently, like a man who owned the world and feared no consequence. I collapsed onto a crate behind the servants' building, my body trembling. I knew it then. If I didn't pull away, I would destroy myself. If Amina didn't pull away, she would destroy herself too. The safest choice was to let her go. But fate did not agree. For 3 days, I avoided her like a curse. I took different routes, stayed near the gate, kept my head down, never entered the mansion. But the human heart is stubborn. On the 4th evening, I saw her again, unplanned, unwanted, but impossible to ignore. She was sitting alone on the stone bench near the garden, wearing a simple jilbab and staring into the distance. She looked smaller, dimmer, like someone had stolen her light. When she saw me walking past, she stood up instantly. Saidu. No, I said quickly. Please, Amina. Not here. Saidu, we need to talk. We cannot. But I must. SSSHH. I hissed. Someone will see. I don't care, she whispered. I do, I said firmly. She stared at me as if I had slapped her. You're pushing me away. I'm protecting you, I said. And myself. I don't need your protection, she snapped. I need honesty. I looked away. Honesty will destroy us. Then let it. Amina, please. She exhaled sharply, hurt swirling in her eyes. You think walking away will solve anything? You think my father will suddenly let me choose my life? He won't. He has already finalized the marriage proposal. My heart sank. To whom? I asked softly. She swallowed. To Farouk Dinladi. I almost choked. Farouk, son of a powerful businessman, notorious playboy, known for violence, arrogance, and humiliation of anyone beneath him. He is not a good man, I said. I know, she whispered. He scares me. Rage flared in my chest. Not jealousy, fear. Fear for her. Amina, you cannot marry him. What choice do I have? She whispered. My father says I must honor the family. Her voice cracked. And what about my happiness? My dreams? My life? I had no answer. She wiped a tear. Tell me something, Saidu. If I was not rich, would you fight for me? My heart twisted painfully. If you were not rich, I said slowly, I would hold your hand without fear. I would talk with you without looking around. I would walk beside you in the market. I would tell you that your smile means more to me than my own future. Her lips trembled. And now, I said quietly, loving you is a death sentence. She inhaled shakily. So you won't fight? I met her eyes. I will not destroy your life. My life is already being destroyed, she cried. Feet shuffled nearby, we turned instantly. 2 guards were standing by the corridor, watching. They whispered and hurried off, definitely to report. Amina's face drained of color. This is getting dangerous, I murmured. She grabbed my wrist tightly. Then help me. Please. I'm begging you. Amina. Come to the garden tonight. After everyone sleeps. I need to talk to you properly. Amina, this is madness. It's the only chance I have left, she whispered. Then she ran inside before I could stop her. That night, I paced my small room like a trapped animal. Should I go? Should I stay away? If I went, I risked everything. If I didn't, she would face it alone. Her fear replayed in my mind. The thought of her marrying Farouk, of her suffering alone, twisted a knife into my soul. At midnight, the compound grew quiet. Night insects hummed. The mansion lights dimmed. And my feet, betraying me, walked toward the garden. She was already there. Under the moonlight, she looked like a ghost of herself, fragile, scared, beautiful. "You came," she whispered. "Yes." She exhaled with relief. "Saidu. I want to leave Lagos." I blinked. "What?" "I want to go far away. To my aunt's house in Kaduna. Somewhere my father won't control me. Just for a while. Just until he calms down. Amina running away will make him furious. I don't care. He will blame me." "I know," she whispered. "That's why I'm not asking you to take me. I'm only asking for your help to get to the interstate bus." I stared at her in shock. "I can't do that." "You can," she insisted. "And you're the only one I trust." "Amina." She stepped closer. "If you walk away tonight, I will be trapped forever." Her tears glistened in the moonlight. "I don't want to marry a man who frightens me. I don't want to be owned. I don't want to lose myself. Saidu, please." My breath shook. My soul fought itself. If I helped her, the chief might destroy me. But if I didn't help her, I would never forgive myself. "Please," she whispered again. "Help me breathe." Those words broke me completely. I nodded slowly. "I'll help you." She let out a trembling breath and hugged me briefly, desperately. At that exact moment, a flashlight beam cut through the darkness. "Saidu. Amina." It was Chief Kamara. He marched toward us, rage shaking his entire body. Amina stepped in front of me instantly. "Daddy, stop." But he didn't. He slapped her. Hard. The sound echoed through the garden like thunder. I froze in horror. Amina gasped, stumbling backward. Something snapped inside me, something old, buried, and unforgiving. I stepped between them before my mind could protest. And the chief stared at me with pure, murderous rage. "You," he snarled, "are finished." The moment Chief Ibrahim Kamara said, "You are finished," the entire garden felt colder, as if the night itself recoiled from his anger. Amina clutched her cheek, tears streaking down from the shock of his slap. I wanted to reach for her, but I didn't dare move. Not with her father standing a few feet away, breathing like a man about to destroy something. "You dare," he growled at me, "stand between me and my own daughter?" "Sir, please," I tried to speak. "Shut your mouth," he thundered. "I gave you work. I fed you. I trusted you in my house, and this is how you repay me?" His eyes were red with fury. His hands were shaking. This wasn't the controlled businessman everyone feared. This was a father who felt betrayed. A man who believed his honor was being attacked. But even then, something inside me refused to bow. "Sir," I said quietly, "your daughter is afraid. She doesn't want the marriage. She only needs time." He stepped closer until his face was inches from mine. "Did she ask you for time? Who do you think you are? Her protector? Her lover?" "No, sir," I said quickly. "I am nothing but a driver." "Exactly," he hissed. "A driver should know his place." Behind him, Amina whispered, "Daddy, please listen." He spun around. "You will go to your room. Now." She wiped her tears. "Not until you stop threatening him." "Amina," he shouted. His voice shook the leaves on the trees. But she didn't move. Instead, she clutched my arm. That small act changed everything. Because the moment her hand touched me, his entire rage shifted. He saw it. Felt it. Understood it. and he lost what little control he had left. "Guards," he roared. 2 men ran into the garden, breathless. "Take this boy," he commanded, pointing at me, "and lock him in the old storeroom." Amina gasped. "Daddy, no." The guards hesitated, unsure. "Now," he barked. The guards grabbed my arms. I struggled, but they were strong. When they began pulling me away, Amina ran forward and tried to stop them. "Leave him. Don't touch him," she cried. But another guard held her back. "Amina, stop," I pleaded. "Don't get hurt because of me." The chief stepped between us, staring at me like a man ready to kill. "You want to act like you are equal to us," he said in a low voice. "Let me remind you exactly who you are." The guards dragged me toward the back of the compound. Amina screamed my name until her voice cracked, but I couldn't turn back. That night, the old storeroom became my prison. The place smelled of dust, old oil, and forgotten memories. There were no windows, only a small hole in the roof through which moonlight trickled like a dying candle. The guards locked the heavy door and left me alone with my thoughts. I sat on the dusty floor, heart pounding, trying to replay everything. How did a simple driver end up here? Because Amina trusted me. Because I chose to protect her. Because her father saw me as a threat to his power. Hours passed. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every sound outside made me flinch. In the deep quiet of the night, guilt crept into me. Was I ruining her life? Was helping her a mistake? Should I have stayed away like I wanted to? But then I remembered her voice, broken but brave. "I need your help. I'm begging you." And I knew I had done the right thing. Near dawn, I heard footsteps. The lock clicked open. A guard entered with a small lantern. "Stand up," he said. I reluctantly rose. "The chief wants to see you." My throat tightened. The walk back to the house felt like a walk toward judgment. When I reached his study, the door was slightly open. Inside, he sat behind his large wooden desk, his face calm again, too calm. "Enter," he said. I did. "Saidu," he began, "I have thought carefully about how best to handle this situation." I stayed silent. "You are young. You are foolish. And you allowed my daughter to confuse you." He leaned back. "So I will give you one chance." A flicker of hope lit inside me. "You will leave this compound," he said slowly. "Tonight. You will not speak to Amina again. You will delete her number. You will treat her as if she never existed." My heart dropped. "And," he continued, "you will return to your village for a while. I will arrange transport." I didn't breathe. "This is mercy," he said. "If I were another man, you would already be in a hospital, or worse." I swallowed hard. "Sir." I didn't. "Didn't what?" he snapped. "Didn't fall in love with her?" His words silenced me. He leaned closer. "This is your last chance, boy. Take it." "What about Amina?" I whispered. "She is a woman," he said firmly. "Women adapt. She will forget you." "She won't," I said before I could stop myself. He slammed his hand on the desk. The books jumped. "Don't challenge me." I clenched my jaw to keep from shaking. "Do you accept my terms?" he demanded. I wanted to say yes. For my safety. For my future. For my family back home who depended on me. But when I opened my mouth, "I cannot leave her without saying goodbye," it slipped out. And the chief froze. "What did you say?" "I can leave," I whispered. "But I need one last moment to speak to her." His expression hardened into stone. "Impossible." "Sir, please. Let me tell her I'm going so she doesn't think." "She doesn't need explanations," he cut in. "She needs obedience." I stood straighter. "Amina deserves to know." He stared at me like a man examining an insect he wanted to crush. "No," he said. "And since you refuse to cooperate willingly." He called a guard. "Escort him to the gate. He leaves now. No goodbyes." "No!" Amina's voice screamed from behind. We turned sharply. She had been standing there, unseen. Tears were streaming down her face. Her legs shaking. "Amina," I whispered. She rushed toward her father. "You can't send him away like this." "I can," the chief replied calmly. "And I will. He did nothing wrong. He disobeyed me. He protected me. That is not his job." Amina wiped her tears roughly. "Daddy, you're treating me like property." He inhaled sharply, wounded and furious. "I am protecting you from foolishness. You are controlling my life. It is my duty. And what about my happiness?" "Happiness follows discipline," he said. She shook her head. "No. Happiness follows freedom." Silence hit the room like a slap. She turned to me. "Saidu, don't leave." I felt my heart split. "Amina," my voice broke. "Your father is right. I should go." She stumbled backward as if I had stabbed her. "Why?" You promised you would help me." "I did," I whispered. "But if I stay, he will destroy everything. You, me, both of us." She looked at me, stunned, betrayed, and heartbroken. "So that's it? You're giving up on me?" "No. I'm letting you be safe." She shook her head violently. "No. You don't get to choose that." A silence so painful followed that even the chief didn't speak. "Daddy," she said suddenly, voice cold and sharp, "if Saida leaves, I leave." His eyes widened. "What?" "I'm going to Auntie Rahmath's in Kaduna. Today. Right now. With or without your permission. You dare." "I am not a child," she cut him off. "I have my own life." "Amina," he shouted. But she kept going, voice shaking but strong. "Marrying Farouk will destroy me. You don't even know him. You don't know what kind of man he is." "I know his family," her father insisted. "And that is not enough," she said. "I won't marry a man who treats women like objects." "So you prefer a driver to a wealthy heir?" Her lips parted slightly, but she said nothing. The chief turned to me, eyes blazing. "This is your fault." "No," Amina said immediately. "This is mine. I made my own choices. I will not let you go," he thundered. She looked at him with a quiet strength I had never seen before. "You can lock me in my room," she said softly. "But you cannot lock my heart." Her father stared at her, shocked. She wiped her face. "If you force me to stay, you will lose me forever." The chief looked like someone had pierced his soul. His anger flickered. Something softer tried to surface, but his pride strangled it. "Fine," he said coldly. "Go." She froze. "Really?" "Yes," he said. "If you want to disgrace this family, go. But you will not take a single thing from this house. No driver. No money. No belongings. You walk out with nothing." Amina's breath trembled. "Daddy, why are you doing this?" "To teach you loyalty." I hated him in that moment. I truly did. Amina turned to me slowly. "Saidu, will you take me?" I hesitated only for a breath. "Yes," I said. The chief's face twisted. "You dare leave with her?" "I dare protect her," I replied quietly. "You are finished," he repeated. "Both of you." Before anyone could react, Amina grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward the door. Guards hesitated, unsure what to do. "Stop right there," the chief ordered. But Amina kept walking. She was crying. I was shaking. We were both terrified. And yet, her hand held mine as if we were stepping into destiny together. When we reached the courtyard, something unbelievable happened. The chief followed. "Amina," he shouted. We turned. He stood there, breathing heavily. For a moment, he looked less like the powerful billionaire, and more like a broken father. "Amina," he said softer, "don't go." Her resolve faltered. She almost stepped forward. But then she remembered the slap. The shame. The control. The arranged marriage. The threats. She shook her head. "I have to," she whispered. And then, she walked out of the compound. I followed her. Behind us, Chief Ibrahim Kamara sank to his knees. But pride crushed any apology he might have uttered. The gates closed behind us. Our fate had changed forever. We walked for almost 10 minutes before Amina finally stopped under a street lamp. Her breath was shaking. Her hands trembling. "Saidu," she whispered, voice barely stable, "I don't know what happens next." "Neither do I," I admitted. "But you are not alone." Her eyes filled with tears. She collapsed into my arms, sobbing into my chest. I held her tightly, feeling her whole body tremble. Her life of luxury was behind her. My life of simplicity was too small to hold her. But here we were, two people trapped between love and survival. "We have to reach the bus park," I said. She nodded. "But Saidu," her voice broke. "What if my father sends people after us?" I swallowed hard. "Then we run faster." Her lips curved into a weak, sad smile. "And if he doesn't? Then maybe we will find a life somewhere." She rested her head on my shoulder. "Saidu," she whispered, "don't let go." "I won't," I promised. But the night was not done with us. Because just as we began walking again, a black SUV slowly rolled to a stop behind us. The engine hummed like danger. Amina grabbed my arm in fear. The tinted window lowered slowly. And the man inside smirked at us. Farouk. The man she was supposed to marry. Well, he said, voice dripping with amusement. "Look at what we have here." Amina gasped. Farouk stepped out, adjusting his expensive kaftan. "Running away, Amina," he said softly. "Without even meeting your future husband?" She hid partly behind me. His eyes shifted to me. "And you," he sneered. "The driver boy." I met his gaze without flinching. "This should be interesting," he said with a cold smile. "Very interesting indeed." The day after the elders' meeting, the mansion of Chief Adewale felt different. No guards were shouting orders, no tension ran through the hallways, and even the breeze that passed through the wide courtyard seemed calmer. But beneath that calm, an old wound had been torn open. Secrets long buried had returned to the surface, and nobody knew exactly how this family, once powerful, feared, admired, would survive the truth that had finally come out. Zuri had barely slept. She had spent the night sitting beside Emmanuel at the small clinic bed, holding his hand, watching over him as if every breath he took was something she needed to guard with her own life. Emmanuel woke up just after dawn, blinking slowly, his eyes adjusting to the morning light. When he saw Zuri, his lips parted into the faintest smile. "Are you still here?" he whispered. "Of course I am," she said. "I'm not going anywhere." Emmanuel tried to sit up, but pain shot through his rib and shoulder. "Don't move," she said, gently pushing him back down. "The doctor says you need a few days." He exhaled slowly. "What happened after everything?" Zuri hesitated. "Baba confessed," she finally said. "He admitted everything. The land. The lies. What happened to your father?" Emmanuel stared at the ceiling, silent. "And Baba," he asked for forgiveness. Her voice softened. "Forgiveness?" Emmanuel laughed softly, but there was no joy in it. "After all these years?" "It's not about him," Zuri said. "It's about you. What do you want?" Emmanuel didn't answer immediately. He closed his eyes, as if searching inside himself for a feeling he wasn't sure he still possessed. I don't hate him, he finally whispered. But I don't know if I can forgive him. Not yet. That's okay, Zuri said. Healing takes time. He opened his eyes, looking at her carefully. But what about us? After everything? Zuri held his hand tighter. I still choose you. Even if the whole world stands against us. Emmanuel sighed in relief, but there was fear behind it. Your father won't allow it. Not after this scandal. Let him try, Zuri said fiercely. I'm not a child anymore. But fate, as always, had plans of its own. Just before noon, a soft knock came at the clinic room door. The doctor stepped in, bowing his head respectfully. Chief Adiwale wishes to see Emmanuel, he announced. Emmanuel stiffened. Zuri immediately placed a hand on his arm. You don't have to. It's okay, Emmanuel said, even though his heart was pounding. Let him come. But the doctor shook his head. He wishes to speak outside. In the courtyard. Zuri frowned. He wants him outside? Why? He said it is a matter of dignity. Zuri didn't like the sound of that. Neither did Emmanuel, but something in him wanted the confrontation, wanted the truth spoken without walls or shadows. With the doctor's help, Emmanuel managed to get up. He wrapped a thin blanket around his shoulders, still weak, but determined. Zuri walked beside him, holding his arm carefully. When they reached the courtyard, the entire staff stood around in a wide circle, silent and stiff. Even the birds seemed to have paused in the trees, as if watching. Chief Adiwale stood in the center. His igbada, usually majestic, intimidating, felt heavy on him today. His face, once proud and commanding, now carried lines of defeat. But his eyes remained sharp, determined. When Emmanuel approached, an uneasy murmur moved through the workers. Chief Adiwale raised his hand for silence. Emmanuel, he began, his voice steady but low. I called you here because there are two things left undone in this house. And today, we will finish them. Zuri narrowed her eyes. Emmanuel stood straight, even though pain ran through every part of him. Chief Adiwale took a slow breath. First, he said, I owe you justice. Emmanuel frowned. The staff exchanged confused glances. Chief Adiwale signaled toward two men behind him. At first, Emmanuel didn't recognize them. But when they lifted their heads, Emmanuel froze. They were the same thugs who had attacked him on the road. The ones Alayinka had hired. And beside them, hands tied, mouth gagged, was Alayinka himself. A ripple of shock went through the courtyard. Zuri gasped, covering her mouth. Chief Adiwale turned toward them, his voice cold. You laid your hands on an innocent man who did nothing but serve this household with loyalty and dignity. You brought shame upon my family. And you nearly killed someone. He stopped himself. Everyone understood the unsaid words. Emmanuel felt his heartbeat quicken. Alayinka struggled, fury in his eyes, but two guards held him in place. One of the captured thugs stepped forward, trembling. Chief, we were paid. Silence. Chief Adiwale roared. You will speak only what I ask. He turned to Emmanuel. The law will handle them. I have already contacted the authorities. They will face punishment for their crime. The staff murmured again. Many of them had suspected Alayinka's cruelty, but to see him so publicly exposed, this was something they had only dreamed would happen. Emmanuel swallowed, shocked. He never asked for revenge, yet here it was in front of him. Secondly, Chief Adiwale continued, turning to face both Emmanuel and Zuri now, there is a matter of the heart. Zuri's eyes widened. Emmanuel felt his knees weaken. The chief took a step closer to his daughter. Zuri, he said gently. You are my child. My firstborn. My pride. Everything I have built in this world, I built for my family. I tried to control your choices because I feared losing you the way I lost so many things. He paused, emotion cracking his voice. But today, I saw something I cannot deny. You love this man. Zuri's lips parted. Baba. No, let me finish. Chief Adiwale raised his hand gently. I have been a proud man. Too proud. But pride has only brought me pain. And if there is one thing I learned yesterday, it is this: love is the one wealth that cannot be stolen, bought, or inherited. He turned to Emmanuel. You have a good heart. You are strong, humble, and brave. Everything I am not. Perhaps, you are the kind of man my daughter needs. The courtyard fell completely silent. Even the wind stopped. Chief Adiwale slowly went down on one knee. Everyone gasped, even Zuri. Emmanuel, the chief said, bowing his head. I ask for your forgiveness. For the sins done to your father. To your family. And to you. Emmanuel felt tears sting his eyes. Zuri's hand tightened around his. I cannot change the past, Chief Adiwale continued. But if you are willing, just willing, I would like to start again. I would like peace between our families. And I would like to give you and Zuri my blessing. Every single person in the courtyard stared, stunned. A billionaire king kneeling before a poor driver? It was unheard of. Unthinkable. Unbelievable. But it was happening. Slowly, Emmanuel stepped forward. His body shook, not from pain, but from emotions he had carried for a lifetime. Chief, Emmanuel whispered. Stand up, please. You don't need to kneel to me. But the chief remained kneeling. Emmanuel gently placed a hand on his shoulder. I don't know if I can forgive everything, not instantly. But I am willing to try. The chief exhaled in relief, standing up slowly. And Zuri? He asked softly. Zuri stepped forward, eyes glistening. Baba, thank you. He placed his hands on her shoulders. My daughter. I just want you to be happy. Zuri sniffed back tears. I am. With him. The chief nodded. Then, in a powerful voice, he declared. From today, Emmanuel is no longer a driver in this house. He is a son of this family. Gasps echoed through the courtyard again. Some cried. Some clapped. Some simply stood stunned, not believing what they were hearing. But not everyone was cheering. Alayinka, still tied, glared with hatred burning in his eyes. His voice came out muffled, furious. The guards pushed him back. Zuri looked at him sadly. Jealousy destroys the heart, she whispered. Emmanuel looked at him too, but instead of anger, there was pity. May God help you find peace, he said quietly. Alayinka spat on the ground in response. Two guards dragged him and the thugs away. The sound of their footsteps faded as the courtyard returned to calm. Zuri turned to Emmanuel. Everything will change now. He smiled weakly. Are you sure you want this? Me? After all the chaos? She laughed softly. Chaos follows love. Haven't you heard? They both smiled. But change, as always, came slowly. Over the next few weeks, Emmanuel moved from the servant quarters into one of the guest rooms. Zuri made sure it was beside her own. They spent evenings walking around the mansion gardens, talking about dreams, fears, the future. Sometimes, they went into the village together, where Emmanuel introduced her to the people he grew up with. Children ran toward her, admiring her bright dresses and soft smile. Old women blessed her, calling her the daughter who brought peace. Zuri felt at home for the first time in her life. Emmanuel's mother, whose eyes had seen too much loss, embraced Zuri the moment they met. My son has suffered enough, she said. If you bring him joy, then you are welcome in this family. Zuri cried in her arms. Life began to feel like a new sunrise. But the shadows of the past lingered. Chief Adiwale became a quieter man. Age seemed to catch him suddenly, as if all the years of guilt had finally settled on his shoulders. Sometimes he sat on the mansion balcony, staring into the distance, thinking of the land dispute, the lies, his broken friendship with Emmanuel's father. Emmanuel visited him often. The conversation slowly turned into something resembling father and son. "The world will judge us," the chief said once. "Let them judge," Emmanuel replied. "We are building something new." One evening, as the sun turned golden, Emmanuel finally gathered the courage to ask Zuri the question that had been sitting in his heart for weeks. They stood under the old mango tree behind the mansion, the same place they had first spoken as driver and daughter, servant and mistress. "Zuri," Emmanuel said quietly. She turned to him. "Whom?" He reached into his pocket. Her eyes widened. "Emmanuel." He cut her off with a smile. "Let me finish." He took her hand, swallowed nervously, and said, "I have no gold, no diamonds, no wealth to offer you. But I have my heart. And it belongs to you completely. So, will you marry me?" Zuri burst into tears. "Yes," she whispered. 1,000 times yes." They embraced beneath the mango tree as the warm African sunset wrapped around them, painting the sky in colors so bright it felt like the whole world was celebrating. Their wedding was simple, no loud display, no extravagant ceremony. Just family, friends, and the blessings of elders from both communities. Music filled the air, drums echoed through the village, and children danced barefoot in the red dust. Laughter floated like wind through palm leaves. When Zuri walked down the aisle toward Emmanuel, there wasn't a single dry eye. And when Emmanuel said "I do," his voice carried the weight of generations healed. Love had won. Not money. Not power. Not pride. But love. Raw, stubborn, beautiful love. It was the ending nobody expected. And the beginning they both deserved.